parkway in my automobile, trying to get back to my pappy's corn liquor steal. Soon as I crossed that Buncombe County line, something in the air blew my podcast up high. It was a whistle from the chicks in the city sticks, and I knew right then it was gonna be my fix. No need for white lightning to get my start. It's hey Lord, have mercy and bless your heart. Lordy, yeah, you know what I mean. It's not strange, take it from me. Lordy, come and listen to see weird mountain gals on the party. Up on Weird Mountain, they've been getting their kicks, jamming on the porch just a hit and mash, stirring up the pot, that's what they do best. They can dish it out till there ain't none left. W-Y-R-D, yeah, you know what I mean. No, it's not strange, take it from me. W-Y-R-D, so come and listen to see Weird Mountain Gals on the party. Well, I finally found my pappy's corn liquor steal. Filled up the jug and had to hit the trail. Gotta get back to the cottage in the Mashville woods, to the Weird Mountain Gals neighborhood. W-Y-R-D, yeah, you know what I mean. It's not strange, take it from me. W-Y-R-D, come and listen and see Weird Mountain Gals on the party. It's them Weird Mountain Gals on the party. It's them Weird Mountain Gals on the party.
Do you consider yourself normal? Then this is not the show for you. Please go somewhere else. This is WYRD. If it's getting weird, it's got to be the Weird Mountain Gals show. You're listening to Byron and Alicia, the Weird Mountain Gals.
Knock, 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 knock. Sorry, I got sand from the beach all up in here. My knuckles are all sandy from being at the beach.
Your knuckles are all sandy. You were digging something, huh? What, did you find any good shells?
No. We were there like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So there was just, I picked up 4 or 5 those long black oyster shells.
Yeah.
That, I mean, nobody collects those, but I was at the beach, had to pick up some shells, and there were a couple of scallop shells, but
Yeah.
it wasn't a good time for shells.
Which beach was it?
Oh, let's see if I can remember. It's called East Beach, and it's on the Georgia coast near that fancy ass beach that people like us can't go to,
Right.
whose name I can't remember.
Jekyll Island.
Yes, thank you. It's near Jekyll Island. Though I have been to Jekyll Island. It wasn't so bad.
I love Jekyll Island. I go there as much as I can. I mean, it hasn't been much lately, but it's beautiful. The thing about Jekyll Island is you don't want to go there for a quick day trip because it'll cost $35 to park. And that's not a joke. It really will. But if you're going to stay for 3 or 4 or more days, that's the place to do it. Now, but I don't know. I'm saying that it's been 10 or 12 years since I've been, so who knows what it's like now.
Well, and East Beach was lovely.
Was it?
It had a lot of good parking. It had a Coast Guard facility with showers and bathrooms and all that. And of course, it's the middle of October, so it wasn't crowded. And it was the perfect temperature,
Was it?
maybe low 70s.
We
Yeah.
were low 60s, I think.
Well,
Well,
it's a little bit colder.
out in the 70s over there. And of course, I was at the Redneck Riviera, part of coastline. That's what they call it, the Myrtle Beach. Did you see? No, of course you didn't see this. Never mind. But there was a South Park episode that had Myrtle Beach featured in it because
I don't doubt it.
they had Mr. Garrison, who is
No. And he had gone to Myrtle Beach.
Well, he took his guy with him to go to Myrtle Beach, and the fellow was like, "You just want to go there to rally," and he said, "No, I don't. No, I just want to go there and walk on the beach with my boyfriend, and I love you," and kind of thing. And sure enough, it shows falling asleep, and he creeps out of bed about midnight or so, and he sneaks away and he goes to the giant Trump store, and because they have one there. They have a Trump store, and he goes in there, and the next thing you know, he's talking and dressing as if he was Trump, and he's saying all these Trump things, and and he gets caught. The boyfriend catches him eventually, and all of that. But the actual real reason I was telling you about it is not the whole Mr. Garrison story, although that's a funny storyline in South Park. He actually was the president in disguise, and nobody knows it. Yeah. So there's a subplot. But I was telling you because the cartoon version of Myrtle Beach is beautiful, and it really did look like Myrtle Beach. It had the pretty Ferris wheel and all of that stuff, and I was like, it is a beautiful beach. I mean, if it wasn't for people being there, it would be great. People screw everything up every time.
They do. Too peopling. Though at the East Beach, as we came onto the beach, you go down that little, there's like a wooden pathway thing that takes you to the sand, so you don't fuck up the dunes. I mean, so by the time we got onto the beach, there was these couple of gals over there, and they were playing the best music, like really good 70s music, like Jim Croce and stuff like that. And everybody was really, really friendly.
I like that.
But it could be because it was the beginning of October, middle of October at the beach. So all the people that you wouldn't want to be around weren't there.
Well, all those people would be all the people. All the people. I don't want to be around any of them. I know it's a wrong and not a very practical attitude, but that's the way I get. I get, and I know it's wrong. I try and work on that. It's not me. I don't own it, but I can't help it. Every time I get out there and there's too many people, I just have a bad attitude.
Too peoply. I tell you what, did you have some good seafood though? Because we did. Oh my gosh, I had shrimp. I had some blackened. What was it? Haddock, maybe. It was the best I've ever had. I swear, best I've ever had. And I had fried shrimp. Fried okra, and my favorite thing in the world to eat. Though I can't really say that, but I do love me some hush puppies.
Oh yeah. Well, Craig.
It's beach cornbread. What can I say?
But it's good beach cornbread. Craig took us to Calabash.
Yes.
And he bought our meal, and we ended up with some Calabash little grouper bites.
Ooh.
And then they had a special on crab legs. So we ended up getting I don't know if it was 3 or 6 pounds of crab legs. It was one or the other. And I had a bowl of crab soup. And that was our entire meal. Oh, and he had hush puppies. and they were the best hush puppies.
Oh my
but
God.
who wants hush puppies when you can have crab legs? I mean, straight out of the basket that they caught them in.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I get that. I do get that. But I do love hush puppies. I'm just gonna say,
Yeah.
I do love hush
Well, yeah, I do too. And I do too. What's not to love about them? But
exactly.
so that was our big seafood splurge, and it was, I'm sure my cholesterol got mad at me, but I don't care.
Well, and the festival we were at had amazingly good food. Generally speaking, you go to a festival and you're going to eat a lot of just unhealthy garbage.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was very good. And he cooked everything fresh. He had a big grill.
Nice.
And, he would tell you, this is what we're going to have today. And
That's
I have a vegan option for that, but this is what it is. So, you didn't have 15 things you could choose from.
That's cool.
But it was good. I mean, it was all good.
That's real good. Well,
Florida, though, let me tell you this, our friends that are listening from Florida, I know why y'all are so damn crazy. Because Florida is always trying to kill you. Always. We were camping on this land, and it's farmland, and some friends of mine own it. So, and they will agree with me on what I'm about to say. So fire ants are a thing.
Oh.
And they are, well, their mother and father were not married. That's what I'm saying about them. And we set up for camping on Wednesday. And that night there was a rainstorm, thunder, lightning. I don't know how many inches of rain. It was huge, huge, huge. And that evidently drives these fire ants out of the ground. And the next day I had one that climbed all the way up my leg, all the way up my torso, and bit me on my boob. Bit me. It crawled all the way up to bite me there.
Oh my God.
And I was really lucky because some people who stepped out in the middle of the night to maybe have a little wee and didn't put no shoes on just got eat up. It was horrific. And they had these little bugs that look like cockroaches, but they are technically wood beetles.
Yeah.
No, they're wood beetles. They're the size of like little German cockroaches that fly. And those suckers were everywhere. If you finished your tea and you put it down on the table and turned away, it would have 4 or 5 of them in it when you turn back.
Oh my gosh.
It was terrible. Terrible, terrible.
I remember those bugs. I don't like them.
Now, it was a wonderful festival. I had a great time. Saw a lot of old friends, met some new friends, connected with some people I kind of knew. So all of that was very, very good. But damn, living down there, I am never camping in Florida again. Never. And I told the organizers, I love those people. Hey, Trisha, if you're listening, I love Trisha and Eric so much. And Vicky was the other big organizer. But I am never camping again in Florida. Never. Not any time of year, not any time.
Well,
no.
And the ants lately, especially that time of year where it's not as warm, you have to worry about pythons and all kinds of lizard life and all of that want to get right up there beside you because you're warm.
Yeah.
And it's not that, I mean, I don't sit around and think about shit like that, but I wouldn't want to camp there either.
No,
I mean,
no, never.
You hear a boar coming at you up in these mountains because it makes a big crash and stuff.
Oh my gosh. And I go to Florida, once or twice a year, but until now, I've been camping in a place that I guess didn't have that problem. Or I was in like a Kiwanis camp where you have little dorms that you live in.
Yeah.
But I made a vow to myself that I'm not camping in Florida again.
Well, good for you. I mean, seriously.
Yeah. I'm just not going to do it.
You don't have to. Yeah.
I do not have to. You are entirely correct. I am just laughing at you. Y'all, I wish you could see what I'm seeing, which is like Alicia is bouncing up and down. And every once in a while, I'll see a big old thumb come across.
So,
And then she'll disappear. And then she just kind of quavers. I don't know what she's doing. She's
well,
fixing something.
I've got this. We're recording the show today with the iPad instead of a computer because my computer, blah blah blah. I don't even want to go there. But the iPad
It's getting fixed. Your computer's getting fixed.
Yeah. So, but the iPad should be able to do it in theory. In theory, my cell phone will.
And again, my friends, I wish you could just see Alicia's face as she is saying that and rolling her eyes and like shaking her head and nodding her head. It's like, oh no, it's gonna be fine. I promise.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I can't wait till they are seeing the podcast and seeing us. We're gonna have to straighten up and fly right, my friend.
No, I'm gonna have to learn how to dress correctly. I can't have a t-shirt like this one on because it might offend somebody.
Except I can't see your t-shirt.
It says my people skills are just fine. It's my tolerance to idiots that needs work. I can't because somebody might get offended, you know.
Well, but see, nobody would see it. Except now I'm saying people skills.
Yeah.
That's all you see. You don't see the tagline.
I tell you, I'm still trying to figure out if I'm going to have some mysterious background or what. I kind of know now that what I want to do is have you on half the screen and me on half the screen.
Yeah.
And if I can make it that far in my learning, and I've not gotten any farther than that except for one big thing, and that is, part of what we have going for us now is I can cut the shit out that nobody needs to hear. If we're on video, I can't just cut out the video, although maybe I can. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But think about
it'll be a little bit of a learning curve. We can do it.
There'd be a lot of people who would just leave us at that point because if we posted it, they'd get offended or decide that we were too NSFW or whatever, and that'd be it.
No, I think we'll just get even more people who are like, "Oh my God, those two are crazy. Let's watch them."
Yeah, maybe that's true. Howard Stern made it, and he was a shock jock. Remember that term?
I do, but we're not that. We're not shocking.
No, we are shocking a little bit sometimes, but we're not a shock jocks.
Oh.
And I can't believe how many podcasts are out there about every subject under the sun.
Man, there's like a bajillion of them.
And if you'll notice, if you ever see anything on television live now, they're pushing you to podcasts. And even online, say you go to a news site, the news site is pushing you to podcasts.
Isn't that interesting?
It is interesting, and I like it. I can do things, most people are listening to podcasts as just an audio file, but there's a growing number of people who go to YouTube for their podcast.
Yeah.
And you can just feed it to whatever devices around you and whatever, and they're not restricted like they are in traditional television. The content is not as restricted. They don't have to be as formal with age limits and stuff like that. So I guess we're going kicking and screaming. Just like, here we go into video age. The world may not be ready.
Well, and I posted, I had my to-do list, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and I had marked off so much stuff on my to-do list. There was just a few things left. So I went ahead and posted, da-da, look, I got a bunch of stuff done. I feel so happy, blah, blah. And then somebody said, TikTok, are you going to do TikTok? Because I had TikTok as something to think about. So I'm still thinking about TikTok, about it.
We'll probably, like I said, we've already got an account that's basically unused. and then my computer broke down and I couldn't get you the info, but you're already there to some degree on it. Wyrd Mountain Gals has got an account for it that's unused, and anytime you want to take it and run, you can. I believe that they have a way for us to podcast on TikTok, to put our podcast on TikTok from YouTube, and that's
Yeah.
why I'm going visual, and that's part of the reason why. It's not that I couldn't stand the thought of not gracing the world with our beauty, but keeping it. We shouldn't keep it, hide it under a lamp. We should put on.
Hiding our light under a bushel. Is that what you think we're doing?
That's it. Oh boy, I don't know how long it's
Look
been.
out, here it comes. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
Oh,
Mercy.
yeah. Hey,
Well, I talked to my feller at my publisher at Llewellyn, Marcus, and I said, Marcus, I've always thought I was too old for TikTok, but I'm being told by friends that I'm already on TikTok because people move my stuff from other formats to there, from other platforms. But I am just rightly terrified of it. And he tagged me onto this gal, and she said, "Oh, no, you got to do it. I saw one of your videos. You got to get on TikTok. And here's how you're going to do it." She laid it out for me. So she is a good advisor
oh,
for
cool.
doing that.
Yeah, I'd like to. Oh, that's cool.
Because, I see some of the people, I see some people that I have a great deal of respect for and or love who do TikTok. And I think, don't do that again. Get your ass off TikTok right now because you're terrible. So I don't want to be that person that embarrasses all my friends.
Well, the problem that I have with TikTok is not the way that it functions, because we can figure that out. The problem I have is the things that it does behind the scenes.
Yes.
For a while they were considering finding a way to get rid of TikTok in the United States because it goes so deep into your personal information and your contact list. And the thought is that there's all kinds of things being done that you're not aware of behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And so I do have a problem with that, but TikTok has become ubiquitous with social media now. So it's almost like, well, it's already there. It's already being done. Your information is probably already compromised. So it's a feeling of, do you just give in to that or what? Because it really could benefit you. And
yeah.
But I'm on the fence about it. And
Me too.
The cliches about it are, well, cliches are there because they started out as somebody noticing a pattern, and then pretty soon everybody realizes this is a pattern. Then it becomes a joke and a cliche. And so it's true. I mean, there's all these stupid things that will just completely waste your time on TikTok. So you have to be disciplined about it. But that's not a question with you. You're disciplined. You can be very disciplined.
I am pretty disciplined about my social media. I mean, I do find myself falling down a hole sometimes like people do, but I don't spend hours and hours looking at reels or any of that stuff. I kind of get in, do my work, and get out.
I could do that so easy. I could just be that person who sits there like this, looking at them all day long. And I can do that with certain games too on my cell phone. So I was thinking about that yesterday, is that I need to not look at any digital things for about a half hour before I try to go to sleep.
Oh, yeah.
Those two, and I know why and all that. But usually what I do is the last thing of the day is I go check on Wyrd Gals stuff, and then I go check the that other group I've got, and then the Earth Critters stuff, and I'll do my last stuff for the day on that, and then I go to bed. But by then my brain starts, oh well, maybe I should, and then maybe I should do this other thing, and so that's my new thing that I'm trying lately, is not getting too digital 30 minutes before I go to bed.
I think that is really, really smart, because it's easy to get, I don't know, just whooped into it.
Yeah, the stuff is hilarious, some of it. Oh, and did you happen to notice, do you what I sent you, the screen capture that I sent you maybe yesterday? Here, I'll show it to you. And I know you get a million messages, and you were online at the time, I think, because I found out afterwards. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. Can let me try this again. Oh,
Oh, yes, yes, I saw that.
that was I thought, yep, it's it's real. That was a screen captured advertisement for
Yeah.
an artificial intelligence girlfriend
Yep.
that pay a monthly fee, and it's so getting to be so common that it's on Facebook in the ads now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, this
Well,
happens.
that's good. I'm gonna say this: any man who'd want an AI girlfriend is
Yeah,
not a man that a real living woman would want to interact with.
that's true. Well, there's a growing number of people who are starting to protest it because they say it's going to affect an entire generation of breeding population men.
Good.
Yeah, that's
Eh,
what we need.
I'm telling you, if any man that would want an AI girlfriend, submissive, whatever thing he wants, he shouldn't breed. He
Yeah.
shouldn't pass those genes on because they suck.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that. I don't know what to say except that.
And maybe that's the answer. Maybe that's the answer to overpopulation.
I was thinking that. I was
Have rubber dolls for a girlfriend.
Yeah, yeah, and somehow, yeah, that can. So when you said that, my brain went into so many places at the same time that I couldn't even pick one to start talking about. Like, I just froze up.
She
Anyway,
couldn't help it, y'all. She froze up.
I did.
Well, I just went video crazy yesterday because I went out to buy turnips because I did that thing last night at Raven and Crone, and I carved turnips into jack-o'-lanterns. And my grocery store didn't have any turnips. I was like, "What? How can you have no turnips?" So
Because
I did. I went out to the Blue Ridge Market on Weaverville Highway, and I was just picking out turnips, and I thought, oh, I think I'll do a video for this. So I just pulled out my phone and I told Joe I'm gonna do a video. So blah blah. So then I did this whole video about how to pick out a good turnip to carve into a jack-o'-lantern. Then I got my Glade behind home with all my nice turnips, and I thought, well, I'm gonna start carving them now so they're ready for tonight. And I thought, well, why don't I do a video of that and show people how to carve it? I showed them how to pick one out. Now I'm gonna show them how to carve this. So I did that little video, and then last night I did that thing at the shop, and they did a video of that. So I was on video all day yesterday. I felt like Darcel Grimes.
no, not that. Maybe Vanna. No, better Darcel.
No, none of the above, I'm afraid.
Well, it's okay because you have stuff that needed to be videoed. I
I did,
mean,
and then I've decided I'm going to read. In the back of my book, Roots, Branches, and Spirits, I've got some local ghost stories,
mhm.
and I'm gonna do a video of those. I'm gonna read them out loud at night because I was doing those night things for a while.
Mhm.
I'd read something from the new book and then wish everybody good night, and a lot of people seem to really like that. So I'm gonna do ghost stories for Halloween.
We did. Remember that year we did one ghost story every day for
Yes.
like 2 or 3 weeks leading up to it.
Yeah.
Most of those, I'd say most of those were local ghost stories too.
Yeah, I think so.
And there's so many that they're probably true. They're probably true.
I think they are as true as they are, which
Mhm.
means they might be true and might not be true. But either way, they
We've-
are evocative of the season. How's that?
It is, yes. But we've got some good local ghost stories. Every place probably does, but we've got some ghost stories that are kind of behind the scenes that are not the the visible ones out in the public, and
Yeah.
disturbing those stories, and they smack of reality. They smack of the truth. They are true, a lot of them, and they really will get you after a while if because when I was given that ghost tour through Asheville, I focused on that a bit, and I would keep my brain was kind of full of those stories and those places and stuff, and I thought, wow, that could, if you just let yourself go there all the time, boy, Asheville's got some dark stuff.
Oh, Asheville has some very dark stuff.
Very dark stuff. Yeah, and I that's not suitable for the evening story on Facebook, and I know you agree because I know you know about a lot of it, and
Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do with the character of some of the folks from our generation back. They were stoic about a lot of things, and death and ghosties and stuff like that were part of the things they were stoic about.
Oh yeah. And that, life. Well, I talked about last night in that program I did is that our ancestors endured things we can't imagine because our lives are generally speaking pretty damn soft. And our ancestors, they endured so much, and they just kind of, they did it for as long as they could until their bodies just gave out.
Yep. Well, I would say that my latest television habit has been YouTube videos of old documentaries about the Scotch Irish that came into these mountains. And
oh, you mean our ancestors, mine and yours? Yeah.
Yes. We both sit here with our hair got all this red in it. I learned stuff that they don't tell you in the newer documentaries, and you see photos of things. So it's I really like those older ones, like from the 40s, if you can find them.
Hey, link me some of those, would you? Or put them in the podcast when we post that.
Yeah,
because I'd love to see those.
Yeah, it's been, I mean, most of them are 20 minutes or so because they would have been a half-hour documentary, and with the commercials and stuff in them, they cut down to 20 minutes or so. I've seen a couple of them from PBS or whatever old version of PBS was called, that were really good. I hope I can find them again. And some of the best music. I heard some keening last night. It sounded like the real thing.
Wow.
It was an early recording of it. And I got chills. So yeah, that's been this.
Well, and here we are talking about death and the dead, and that's the appropriate time of year to be doing that, isn't it?
Well, we can't help it. I can't help but talk about it because it's what's in my brain, because it's what's going on. All you have to do is take a look outside last night, look up at the moon.
My gosh, wasn't that beautiful?
Gorgeous.
Oh,
it was
sharp as an axe.
Yep. It looked like something out of a painting. I bet your kitchen smells good right now.
It does. I'm stirring up my beans. I need a little bit more water.
I tell you,
y'all, putting water in the beans.
Water in the beans. When we were over at Craig's, he had made a barley soup, a vegetable barley beef or something like that, beef barley soup, and it was so good. And his place smelled so nice. Smelled like the beach.
Barley. It's one of my favorite grains. Barley. Chewy.
Well, yeah. Well, his place smelled like barley and the beach, and it was good.
Oh, that sounds good.
Did I ever tell you about that time we put that odor? We created the new odor at the beach, the new smell.
No. Tell me.
We went and stayed up at my mom and dad's place one fall for about a week or two. I don't remember. And it was probably last week of October, first week of November. And I had gone and bought a bunch of fresh seafood that we were going to cook up, and we did. and had a really good meal. And at the end of the meal, we slid some oysters into the oven to bake some oysters, right?
Ooh, yeah.
There, and we started talking. You know, it was very low temperature, so we sat there and started talking and talking and talking. And the next thing you know, we were taking a walk out on the beach. And when we came back, the oysters on the half shell had melted into the metal pan.
Oh my God.
Now, you want to talk about a smell. Melted
Sure.
melted oyster seashells are
No, thank you.
so we did, you know, we opened some windows, and then one of us got the bright idea to find some sort of room spray. And I guess my mom had like Glade or some crap like that, and sprayed it all over the house. And we had to leave because when it mixed with that crab smell, that we called it Crabby Glade from then on out. The name of the smell. Do not buy it if you ever see it on the shelf. It was disgusting. It really was. So
Oh,
I know. I
yeah,
like
that's just nasty.
it was. we were lucky that's all that happens.
Yes, you're lucky the house didn't burn down.
That was some dumb stuff to do. But of course, I guess everybody's done at least one dumb thing when they were at the beach, right?
Oh, yes.
Yes, look at you.
At least one.
Yes. Well, I know. So that was a pretty bad one. But anyway, didn't see any shooting stars or anything.
Oh,
No,
yeah. Hey, were you able to see the eclipse
look for it. I forgot. So,
on Friday the 13th?
yeah, no, I didn't look for it.
Yeah, it
I
was it was overcast where we were, so we really could watch it happen. Oh, it was amazing. It was just amazing.
I think I was getting ready to leave. I think I can, you know, because I didn't. I think I was getting ready to leave because I spent the first week here in Asheville, and I had that doctor's appointment with that dude and all of that
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
So anyway, I'm glad to say that there hasn't been any big, huge news locally that affects me, other than
I like the
usual.
way you put that. That affects me.
Yeah. Well, I know there's
Yeah.
lots of news going on, and this is a season where everything happens. People have all this shit going on right now, and
Yes,
I'm,
they do, and it's a lot of big shit too.
it
Excuse
is.
me, Carol.
It's a lot of big. Maybe this episode, instead of a crow, I'll do a sea crow, a seagull.
That's a great idea. I did a video from the beach too.
Did you?
Now that you mention it, yeah, and I was all obsessed with, which I am really at the beach. I get obsessed with pelicans. I don't know what it is about me and pelicans. I just love them darn things.
I like pelicans too.
Because they're primitive looking, you know?
They're funny, is what they are. They're funny. I do like me some pelicans, and I enjoy watching the gulls. We got on
Oh,
a
me
ferry.
too. Me too.
You
Those
know.
stinkers will take the sandwich right out of your hand.
Yes, they will. Or you know, you can go get a bag of dog food, and they go crazy over that.
Do they
That's
really?
Oh yeah, that'd be like if they were throwing lobster to me.
Ooh,
That
lobster.
I I'd take me some lobster.
Yodeling.
Boy, I tell you, the meme choices have been ripe lately, haven't they? We've had some good memes going
Yeah,
around.
yes, we have. My gosh.
All right, I'm sending you. Check this one out. This was, speaking of those birds. This was I just texted it to your regular whenever you get
Okay.
a chance.
All right.
And
Thanks.
yeah, yeah. So we took a field trip day and drove over to through Southport, to the ferry, up to the Confederate Museum, past that, and then up
Oh,
to the other thing the Carolina Beach, I guess is what it is.
Yeah,
And
I think so.
backtracked the backwards way and stopped at the graveyard for a little bit.
Yeah,
And
that's such a beautiful cemetery.
it's peaceful and beautiful. Everywhere you look, there's something interesting. Yeah, I really do like that place. It's magic for me.
I made so many photographs
Yeah,
in that particular one.
because
Yeah.
what's not to photograph? They every tombstone, every gravestone has got something interesting about it, even if it's just a story or where it's located. And when you are out of the cemetery and kind of looking in, you start to
Yeah.
realize that the reason that it's so wooded and beautiful, because they've got all the trees are gone everywhere except for right there. They've taken them all down, and the reason they don't take some of them down is because those great big giant trees used to be tiny little saplings that somebody planted beside Aunt so and so's grave or their children's grave or something
That's
like that.
right.
And through the many years, they've grown, and some of them have grown up big enough to where their root system has started to displace the caskets.
It is interesting and slightly creepy.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't really associate cemeteries with living beings,
No,
I
me
don't
either.
know how to- it's just that cemetery over at Avery's Creek has been there, and I would go there and play sometimes. I say play, but really what I was doing was checking out the graves and stuff like that.
I would go out when my daughter was little. We've got several family cemeteries in the area.
Mhm.
And I would go out there and, clear off the graves and all that. And Cat would just run wild because there weren't cars coming in and out. I mean, cars do come, but she could
Mhm.
just run and run and run. And if she fell, she'd fall on soft grass. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
and, the worst that happened is that she saw a snake one time, but it didn't scare her. She was just like, Mommy, look, it's a snake. And I was like, whoa.
Wow.
It's a little old green snake.
Yeah. Well, in Robbinsville, family property bumped up against the Cherokee property and the place where Junaluska's grave was.
Uh-huh.
Kind of like I'd go up the backyard, up the hill at the backyard and walk up the trail just maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes worth, and I'd be right there at Junaluska's grave. And
That's amazing.
yeah, and his grave was this big, giant, flat rock. They put this huge boulder on top of the grave, and it's him and his wife is who it was. And I didn't think twice about crawling up on that rock and turning it into the place I would read my book, the place I would take a nap. It was my napping rock forever,
Yeah.
Robbinsville. And it didn't occur to me to be bothered. I was not bothered in the least by the fact that there was 2 dead people underneath me.
Right. Right.
It's just biology. It's just stuff. After you're dead, it's your body, and your body is just stuff. It's going to go right back into the ground unless you're preserved. And it just didn't bother me. Living people scare the shit out of me sometimes. But
Yeah.
the dead
people ain't scary to me.
they're not. They could be, I guess, but they haven't been for me. I don't worry about them. They have a more pure way to communicate anyway. There's things our intentions are not disguised. It's like if you are a frenemy, in theory, you could go up to somebody and say something nice and mean something off. But I don't think that happens with the dead. I don't think they would bother with some sort of duplicity like that. Do you? So it's like what you see is what you get with them.
Yes, I agree 100% because they're in a place now where they understand.
Right.
We're still curious about the whats and the wheres and all that, but once you're dead, so if you're dead, you don't know nothing because you're gone.
Right.
Well, we don't know that, so we'll find out.
Yeah, we will someday. And when that happens, I doubt I'm going to feel like spending much time hanging out with people who are living just to give them a little scare every now and then. because I imagine that it takes a lot of energy or reserves or whatever it is that the spirit world would use to even be able to get to a place where they could communicate with people who still have a physical form.
Yeah.
So why would I bother to, scare somebody, go boo or some shit like that? I don't know. I just never have felt worried about it.
Well, and that is just never, my experience has not been any of that,
Yeah.
in treating with the dead. I've never had that. I've never had that happen. And maybe I'm just lucky, but
I don't know.
maybe, I don't know. I don't know either. But
Well,
it's the season, isn't it? 'Tis the
yeah,
season.
the veil. We talk about the veil every year. Oh, it's so thin. Oh, it doesn't exist. That's like, well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, well, yeah. Nothing.
Yeah, what can you say?
Well, and people will fight me on that. I'll go, there's just no veil. And they go, well, of course there is. There's always and I'm like, well, all right, if you feel like you need to believe that, that's fine. I don't have a
that's the
problem
veil
with you
they
believing
put up
that.
themselves.
But I'm
That,
telling you, your ancestors are here right now beside you, right with you.
yeah,
And just because you can't see them or hear them doesn't mean they are not there.
that's exactly right. I totally agree with you.
A rumph.
Correct. That's a good word when it's written. It's HARUMPF.
Harumph. Funny.
I like those old words like gallivant, all that stuff.
I use those old words all the time. My favorite response lately to just anything is "Holy moly," or "Gadzooks."
Oh, that's a good one. I like that. Yeah, I try to keep it.
Because the world is just crazy.
And that's all right. It is. It's always been crazy as long as I've been alive, anyway.
Well, and we're probably gonna have to clean up our act a little bit and not go wandering down these deer paths and jumping in these rabbit holes.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I don't know. We've exhausted a lot of material.
Have we exhausted our audience though? That's a big question. Are y'all exhausted with us? Because I know we could just keep talking and talking and talking. I told them last night, I kept checking the time and I finally just said, y'all, I'm going to go over, right? And somebody said, well, don't threaten us with a good time. I said, I just am. I'm just warning you.
Yeah.
If you thought you were going to get out of here in an hour, you're probably wrong.
So tell me, Byron.
Yes, ma'am.
You've lived here, and we just talked about the dark subjects in Asheville and the area. Is there a ghost story that's been on your mind this year to tell?
I have been walking through some pretty dark, strange places this year. And, that whole ghost story stuff, I love it so much. And I love the idea that we can listen on the wind and we can hear voices. And I mean, all that stuff. I just, like you were saying earlier, it fascinates me. It doesn't scare me at all. And I guess I will tell you, I'm working on a ghost story. I'm writing one up this afternoon once we get off here that I'm not going to tell now because y'all will see that long about Halloween, I guess. But there is the story, and it's in my book, Roots, Branches, and Spirits, about this woman in my neighborhood where I grew up, it wasn't really a neighborhood. I grew up in the country, near where I grew up, and her husband was threatening her all the time, and he beat her up, all that stuff. Well, ultimately, they got in one of those kind of fights that happen sometimes where he killed her and she killed him. Yeah, and ever after, when the light was exactly right, she crawled out on the little front stoop and bled out. And ever so often when the light was right, you could see her stretched out with her hand stretched over the steps, like she was trying to get away.
Mm.
And they said there was so much blood that they couldn't even clean it up. And they ended up putting a stone facing on the whole house so that you couldn't see that.
Mm.
And that it's sad, but also very weird.
Yeah, that's very weird. I had one where recently they were talking about this gal's mom who was in her bathroom and had been pushed. She said she had been pushed and she actually fell into her daughter's arms, or her daughter caught her or something. But the thought was that she had been pushed. And I thought, I've heard of stuff like that, but I don't know what to think of it because I
Had
don't
been
know.
pushed by a spirit. Ooh, interesting.
When I think of what kind of energy that must take, because it's, you can tell I've got this opinion that its spirit has to translate to the physical world, because we're really not quite able to do that at will in the physical world. So in order to do it, it takes energy. The spirit would have to know how to do that. And I think that to do something really tough like that, like pushing somebody, you'd have to have a lot of energy involved, I would think. I would
I
think.
would think so too.
Yeah. So then that brings up the question, well, is it a ghost, or is it a different kind of entity that maybe is a lot more efficient at energy work?
What kind of entity do you think that would be?
Well, I don't know. You see, that's where I am more confused. I know about ghosts and stuff because they're kinfolk that I haven't
Yes,
met,
exactly.
and they feel human and they have human foibles and emotions and stuff like that. But it'd be kind of naive for me to suppose that demons did not exist if every other philosophy talks about them and stuff. I don't know if they do or not. I have seen evil that I can't explain, that I have my stories and they have witnesses, and it has to be something, and it wasn't human, I can tell you that. It was intelligent and it did want to kill me. And so
Oh, but when was that? Tell me more.
I think I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again. When I was 14 or 15 years old, I went to band camp. And my friend, that's right, you remember the story. And my
No, I was
friends,
just remembering one time at band
that
camp. It's like
that's
that
what we did
joke.
when we were telling the story last year, is we did that joke. But yeah, I was there with 5 of my friends, snuck out that night, and we went up the hill. And about halfway up the mountain there, or hill, there was something that we realized was following us. And we slowed our walk down. And I was one that had the flashlight, and I was on the far left side of the group. And whatever it was following us was on the right side. And I remember we slowed down to a stop, and I took the flashlight and I moved it up to where whatever it was. And I remember I had to go up high, about 10 or 15 feet up. And there was something there that I can't explain. It was evil. It was scary. I've never been so terrified. I was convinced I was getting ready to die. And every one of us had the exact same reaction. And then flash forward 15 years later, and the internet has come around, Facebook is around, and we have a class reunion. And I ran into one of the people there, and I said, "Hey, do you remember that time?" And he confirmed everything that had happened. And I talked one by one. I've talked to almost every one of those people that were there, and they all independently confirmed it, except for the preacher man who said that in his church they didn't talk about the demonic, that they didn't give
Oh,
a talking about it.
huh.
And so he evidently thought it was a demon. I didn't know what it was, and every one of us have seen something different. My buddy Brian thought it was a griffin. Uh,
Oh,
but yeah, and so I mean I don't have a clue what it was. All I know is that the eyes were not human. There was intelligence behind them, and it wanted to kill us, kill me for sure. I can't speak for the rest of them. And it could have too if it wanted to. It was that. So I don't know why it didn't. It chased us down the hill. It followed us down the hill. That's what I should say. And we were so terrified that not one of us ever spoke of it again until I brought it up after we had graduated. I mean, we didn't tell anyone. And that in itself should tell you something.
Yeah, it tells me how scared y'all were. Well, now that brings up the question of cryptids. So maybe it was a cryptid of some kind.
That term didn't exist back then.
No, it did not.
And so it probably could be considered that. It probably could. I took it to be, it must be some animal that was super intelligent and wanted to kill me, because that's the thing.
Well, and that might be what a cryptid is too.
I don't think anybody there took it as human, as an evil human, not right. One of it. So it was, yeah, that was just right up the road. This area has darkness to it. It's an old mountain range. Why would it not?
Exactly. It's an ancient place with ancient stories and a long history, and some of it's very beautiful and some of it is not.
Just like reality.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm. Time has flown. I can't believe how fast time has flown the last couple of weeks / months / years. It's just getting faster and faster.
Yeah, it's true. Mm-hmm. It's true.
Mm-hmm. So,
well, it's the end of the year. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say it's the end of the world, though. Somebody asked me a really very serious question at this festival I was at, and I said, "Well, because you don't have time, so get on it now." And she went, "Are you predicting my death?" And I said, "No, ma'am. I'm telling you, none of us have time, so get on it now."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. I feel it, especially this time of year. I feel the burden of it. I do. So anyway, I know our friends are out there getting ready to celebrate the day, and we've got some other friends who really don't like it, and
Do we have friends who don't like Halloween?
Mm-hmm, I do. They say that it's macabre and why I think about the dark things all the time. I get told that every now and then.
Huh. I don't know. It doesn't seem macabre to me. I mean, I guess it does. What am I saying? Of course it does.
It seems a little bit silly sometimes, but I like how, and for the most part, I like how the United States has embraced it, because it's silly like the rest of them in that way.
It is pretty silly.
It's about every American holiday that is popular has a lot of candy involved with it. Have you noticed?
Ooh, you know it.
Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving has got maybe not candy, but food. It's always got food involved.
I used to say I couldn't tell the difference between all the candy holidays, because there's Easter that has all the candy. Mm-hmm. And then there's Halloween that's got all the candy, but now everything has got all the candy.
All the popular.
It's everywhere.
Yes. Oh, speaking of, do you know, we saw in Myrtle Beach, there are these giant stores now. Of course, about like Pacific and Wings and all the Halloween or beach places that they have. Now they have these places called Sugarland.
And it's all candy.
All candy.
Because that's what America needs, is to eat more junk and crap.
Right. I couldn't believe it, how big those stores were. It's like sugar daddies. Okay. Let's go take our kids to a 5,000 square foot store where there's nothing that doesn't have sugar in it. And then we'll wonder why they don't behave right.
Right. And we'll wonder why they're sick and they don't want to eat anything that's not full of sugar.
Yeah, I know. That's a hard
Yeah.
one. I actually am not worried, but I am watching with interest how I react to this new diet coming around for 2 weeks, to walk away from sugar, processed food, all those things that addict you.
Yeah.
It's going to be. I'm interested to see what could happen. So anyway, and I had my first Zoom tonight with this MCAS Carolinas group.
Oh, nice.
Yep. So we'll see. I have no idea what to expect. What's your plans for this next coming week or so? Are you traveling at all? Here we go.
My plans are this weekend I am part of the officiating team for a funeral. And then I'm teaching a national class online on Sunday.
Ooh.
And then next week, there's a woman coming into town on Wednesday to interview me and film me talking about folk magic.
Ooh.
And, it's just every day there's a little something to do. Okay.
Ooh, it's Halloween for all y'all Halloween celebrators out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, this is the holiday of candy, and we haven't even started to discuss the real reason Halloween exists.
I know. We'll do that next time.
Let's
Y'all
do it.
tune in next time for the real story of Halloween.
Two
Lord.
chicks who think they might know.
Well, who's going to talk about it, whether they know about it or not?
That's right. That's exactly
That's
right.
our job. We're podcasters. We don't have to know nothing.
That's
Do
right. Well, most of
Meow.
you don't. At least we admit it.
Exactly. I mean, we are. Remember that? What was it? What you see is what you get, and that was an early on computer thing.
Mm-hmm.
That meant it was really user friendly, and it was fine. But we're kind of that. We are what you see is what you get. And if you thought we were something other than we aren't, well, we ain't even really sorry about it. We're just,
No.
you need to be disabused of that notion, because we are what you see is what you get.
That's exactly right. You know what? That reminds me of the very first podcast. Do you remember what you said?
No, God, no. That was years ago, woman.
I'm going to cut it. I'm going to cut that part out, and I'm going to insert it right here.
Bless their hearts, it's going to let our audience know exactly who we are, maybe. And they may be really happy about that, and they may just not want to know. Because we are not what you might think we are.
And weird is not what you might think it is.
No, and it has many meanings, just as we are many different kinds of people.
And then everybody can hear what you said.
Oh, good.
I remember.
Oh, good, I guess.
It is fine. It was the first podcast.
Sorry, y'all. We're awful. And you just need to know that. I mean, like you had any doubt.
We've tried to warn them now many times. If you ever see that on the podcast description, if you hear me say, trigger warning, blah, 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 it means we're going to say something that's going to piss somebody off every time.
And I love it when you say things like, maybe if you're just too delicate, you need to go somewhere else. No, you don't put it like that, but you do basically say, if it's going to hurt your feelings, just don't
even go. I know your kitchen smells good.
It does smell good. Joe got me a bag of mixed southern greens, and it has, all the greens you think it would have in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's going to be so good because my fire cider is ready. And I'm going to eat me a bowl of them greens with fire cider on it. Maybe some onion chopped up in the top.
And some pepper. That sounds good. That sounds
Doesn't it?
good. Well, we got pickle beans ready to go now. We're getting
Oh
ready for
boy, did you make them?
Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful.
Mom and I made them, is what I should say. Got the recipe from one of our relatives, and who makes them really well.
my.
And so, yeah, I love me some pickle.
So when we finally get around to writing that dang cookbook we keep threatening to write, we can put that pickle bean recipe in there.
Oh God, yes. Yeah, that doesn't need to die. It deserves to live. But that recipe is some good stuff. And I'm sure that for at least 50 to 55 years, that recipe has not changed.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I do too. So, well, listen, I'm going to let you go.
All right, I guess I better go stir something somewhere.
Wish me luck with that thing tonight, that Zoom thing tonight. And I'll get a hold of you at some point and just say, hey, in the next week, we'll plan on seeing each other.
We'll both do some catching up.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Well, y'all, bye, and bye. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Hey, thank you for spending your time with us here at Wyrd Mountain Gals. We sure do appreciate it. You know, I know time is the most important thing we have. So I promise that if you take your time to listen to us, we'll take our time to continue to be weird. Many thanks to Sunslice Records for all the help. We couldn't do it without you, Craig. Check out our social media for information, community, or a few laughs. WYRD Mountain Gals.
WYRD Radio.